What's good with it in the hood with it? Welcome back to our, you already know, das. Welcome back to the collective clips where we already get it in, man. We've been getting it in. So let's continue to get it in. But before we get it in, hit that like and subscribe button. Put your notification bell on all. So that way you're directing the direction of the dope content that the gun is kicking. And welcome back to another episode of Whopping Super Norteno, right? And this one right here is a little bit more, we should turn the lights off for this one. This one right here is a paranormal super Norteno activity for an active activity. Okay, listen to this one. This one is going to trip you out. So I was in Tracy prison and I had a cellie. Well, actually, he was my next door neighbor. And he was a youngster from San Jose, from Sanjo. And, you know, these guys from San Jose are pretty laced up. You know, for generations now, dudes out of San Jose, you know that when you run into them, especially the Northerners, right? Southerners as well. But the Northerners that I've ran into since my YA days, back when I was running stupid, wild, right? Super active, all in the mix. They've always been laced up properly. Like, these are the homies. And I always took a liking to them. Like, I don't know, they had the mentality that I was striving for. Like, they were all in the mix. They were super gang banged out. That was my thing. It's what I wanted to be, you know? So I gravitated towards kicking it with homeboys from Salas, Sanjo, you know, the whole northern thing. Wherever they were harder, wherever the Huelga was sticking up more, that's where I would be at. So I had a lot of love and a lot of respect for a lot of homeboys from San Jose, from Palmas, homeboys from Barrio Mas Locos, homies from East Side Hoods, Capitol Park, you know, everybody you could think of, Horseshoe. These were the guys that I thought were like, hey, man, they were the ones. You know, you get to that level, you're on. So I get to Tracy prison. And there was a little homie. He was next door. When I call him little homie, he was a youngster. He was about 19, 20 years old. He had 55 years to life. He had got caught up with in a murder plot. And, you know, he went at it with the Southsiders, and one of them came up short. You know, unfortunately, you know, killing raza is never a good thing, but it happens. Especially in Northern California, man, where you have the North and South issues, even to this day. You know, the Upstater movement and then the Nortenos, and it was going down even back then. So he had killed one, right? Or two, actually. He got 55 years to life. And he was a solid youngster. We were active. We were on J-Wing. And he was my neighbor. And we used to chop it up all the time. And he started going through some things. I've told the story before where somebody wanted his cell, okay? And they wanted to move into his cell. They wanted basically to boot him up out of his cell. He was refusing. He figured, hey, I'm an active homeboy. I got the same clutch everyone else does. I'm from Sanjo, man. You got to put some respect on my name, like the Birdman. They said, man, if you don't get your ass up out of there. So he got at me, and I was like, let me get at who I got to get at, bro, and apply a little pressure. Eventually what happens is he got put on freeze for a little while. As, you know, that's how the Nortenos do it, man. If you don't go against the grain or you're not listening to who you're supposed to listen to, they're going to fuck with you a little bit. And it was just selective politicking. Eventually I got him in my cell. And when I got him in my cell, he used to trip me out because he'd tell me all these stories. He was real animated, right? One of the involved, he used to tell stories. I used to tell stories. We had a good time in that cell. You know, we made the best out of a fucked up situation. The water was brown. The windows were broke out. You know, Tracy prison living. Stingers and stingrays. It was just fucked up. But at the same time, he was a good-ass cellie. And so he used to tell me a few things about San Jose, and I tell him about Merced or whatever, right? And I noticed at night, he'd be always waking up. He'd be shaking and shit. And he was on the top bunk. And I was tripping out like, hey, bro, you all right? Now, we got to become like good friends to the point where it's like, if I woke him up in the midnight, he wasn't all freaked out. He'd just be like, oh, what's up, bro? And I'd be like, hey, are you good? He's like, why? What's up? And I was like, you be shaking and shit at night. You got like epilepsy or something? Like, what's wrong with you? Like, if you got something wrong with you, bro, go to med call. You know, go to the nurse and see what's happening. And so what had happened was one day he just sits on the toilet. He's like, hey, bro, I got to tell you something. And I was like, here we go. I'm going to have to sock him in his big old fucking mouth right now, right? And he was a little thick youngster, like fucking swole. So I'm like, shit, man, I don't even know if I can take this youngster right now. I'm getting older and shit. So I'm like, what's up? He's like, bro, do you believe in ghosts? I said, yeah, I seen a couple. He said, nah, for reals, tell me. And I said, no, what the fuck you asking me that for? What kind of weird shit are you on, right? He said, nah, bro, tell me your story and then give me the courage to come out and tell you mine. Give me the courage to come out? Hell no, R. Kelly, I don't want to hear that. Don't ever say come out. Just say I'm going to tell you a story, right? Come on, bro. You know, it's fight or flight in this motherfucker, and my cheeks are solid, bro. You know, fuck that. I ain't left the gun playing cheek and shit. So he's like, nah, bro, just tell me your story, and I'm going to trip you out on mine. So I'm like, all right. So I told him about Nellis and seeing the youngster bouncing the basketball and the few scary things that I've heard or I've seen while incarcerated, right? And I told him about the ghost in Tracy when I was in Tracy. Those of you that have ever watched it, you'll know, right? And so he's like, hey, bro, I think I'm being haunted. I'm being tormented. Now, I'll be honest with you guys. I see some weird shit. I seen some weird shit. He'd be shaking his shit and being all flipped out. And I thought like I said, I thought he was going into convulsion. I thought he was doing the Humpty Hump. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. I was like, wake up, homie. Norte! I didn't know I was doing anything I can to bypass whatever he was doing, what he was trying to bypass. So he was like, hey, bro, the two vatos who I killed, he goes, one of them, I seen him. He looked directly at me. The other one kind of turned, so I never really seen him besides like the fucked up pictures I have in my paperwork and shit. And he goes, but every time I have these dreams, they're on me, man. Like it always comes to the verge of them killing me. He goes, is it true that if you go to sleep and you get killed in your dreams, that it's really, I said, no, this ain't Freddy Krueger shit, bro. You know what I mean? There's not a nightmare on 14th Street, but I'll tell you this right now. I've heard that same shit. And he was like, yeah, bro, I don't know, man, but it's tripping me out. He goes, I don't know if I could function as a solid homie. You know, they're gonna think I'm a J cat or some weird shit. And I said, you're tripping, bro. Homies ain't tripping off that. And I was thinking to myself, they're gonna whack that dog shit out of you if you tell them this story, right? So I'm like, hey, I mean, what's gonna help? He's like, I don't know, bro. You know, I'm thinking about doing some voodoo shit, all kinds of crazy ideas he was coming up with. I was like, bro, this is not what we want to talk about in Tracy Prison. We should be talking about hyenas we boned and about fucking fishing down the tier to get a sopa. Like, I don't want to be talking about ghost stories and all that shit. For one, I believe it. So I know there's some crazy shit, but man. So anyways, trip out. He ends up getting moved out of my cell. This is just what he told me, that he was being tormented and haunted by Southsiders, dudes that he actually killed. And I know that to be true because he was a little solid dude. Like there was no lying in him. Like he was just straight up. Sometimes he'd blurt shit out that it just made no fucking sense. Damn, that hurt. I'm like, what the fuck? He was like, no, when I took a shit earlier, it hurt. I'm like, yeah, but why didn't you say it while you were taking it? Why you say it like an hour later? He goes, because I'm just thinking about it right now. I'm like, what the fuck? He was a little different, a little odd, but a solid homeboy from Solomon, most definitely. So he ends up getting shipped out to where he's going, which was high desert at the time. And I'm waiting to go where I'm going. And so I'm chilling, right? And I do my time, whatever. I forget all about the conversation. I get out. And when I get out, whooping, right? My primo Ricky gives me a call. Whooping, I heard you got out. I said, yeah, I'm out. Why? What's up? You want to have a barbecue? I said, nah, not in your backyard, because, you know, shit and roaches are just not my thing right now. You know, I've stepped up to the next level. I'm not kicking it with some solid homies. So, yeah, I just don't want to smoke caca. No, my mom cleaned it. She cleaned it. Right? So I was like, all right, fuck it. So my dad gets on the phone. Hey, you son of a bitch, we're going to throw a barbecue over here. You want to come? I said, what's the barbecue? It's for you getting out. You don't have to show up, though. But I need to borrow a little bit of money because I want to buy some. Yeah. I'm like, what? You want to buy some? Yeah. She goes, no, I was talking to my old man. He's trying to eat my pussy. And I told him, yeah, but not right now because I'm on the phone. Yeah, later. I want to buy some of that. What is that stuff that they got? The salad, the macaroni salad and the fucking the Caesar salad. I said, all right. And what am I supposed to do? You bring me money, because how am I going to throw a barbecue for you, son of a bitch, if I don't got no money to do it? This is your fucking stupid ass baboso fucking cousin's idea. Whooping, I want to throw. He's acting still. I'm like, listen, all right, I'll come by. You know, you want some fucking potato salad? That's the one, not the Caesar salad, bitch. The potato salad, papa head. So I said, all right, I'm coming by. So I go and we're eating and drinking, and there's a lot of paisas there, a lot of people there. They're making carnitas. It was cool. It was actually an event where there was no drama. Unfortunately, right, for you guys, because I know you guys like to hear about the drama. But we had a good time, so let the drama kick in. So it's late night. My tia's like, Mijo, why don't you just stay here? She's all happy and shit. You know what I mean? She got her pussy ate. Mijo, why don't you just stay here? Because I know there's a hole in the floor, but if you stuff it, you take one of the fucking things out the couch and you just stuff it in there, you can lay a sleeping bag and sleep right there as roaches, but you flick them, mijo. Just flick them before you stick them. One time I thought they were pink. I was eating them. I was like, what are you doing on the ground? I wanted to see how it feels to be one of you stupid asses. So I'm like, all right, I'm sleeping on the couch. Fuck that, right? So I'm laying on the couch, and she lives there. She had a homegirl for the first time. The wind's blowing. For the first time in her life, she had a homegirl that looked halfway decent. So you already know what time that was. I wasn't going nowhere. My old lady's ringing me off the hook. Are you going to come home? I just got out like 3 days. Are you going to come home? Are you going to come home? I'm looking at the other girls like opening her legs like Sharon Stone. I'm like, no, I'm not. I got to help my tia do some things. So anyways, I'm kicking back. We're all chopping it up. And Ricky's like, you want to play the Ouija board? And I'm like, hell no, right? Hell no. I'll watch you guys though, because now the chick, you know how chicks, this is how they are, right? I'm laying on the couch, chorra hard as a rock, right? Ricky and Sheila are right there. Every time Sheila turns around, my shit gets soft. And then she turns that way, and then it gets hard. And then she turns this way, and then it gets soft again. But her homegirl is like flashing me a little bit of leg, opening her legs, right? And she's like smiling. And I had been trying to get at her, but she'd been playing the role like Sheila told her, nah, you're not going to fuck with, you know what I mean? Whatever. You know, I'm hungry. She's too busy wanting to eat. So her homegirl starts to slide over. Next thing you know, they break out a Ouija board. I don't know where this bootleg ass Ouija board came from, but you know how Ouija boards have like a sun and a moon? Yeah, this one had like a star and a pitchfork. Like it was something different. Right? I thought it was like a gangster disciple board. So they're sitting down and she just like, come on. Her friend's like, okay. And I told her friend, hey, if you're going to touch that, don't touch me. Because I had some experiences with the Ouija board. I can tell you guys right now, true stories. I seen some crazy, crazy shit. My ex used to have a Ouija board that she had up in her fucking closet. And I swear that motherfucker moved by itself. Just crazy shit. So anyways, I'm kicking back, right? But she's got like her head up against me, her hair, I can smell her hair. And it smells like VO5, the strawberry kind. Bomb. And so as she's leaning, I'm like, oh man, my shit's hard as a rock. I'm trying to rub it on her fucking back, but be discreet about it and nice, right? Don't worry, Marvelous. I checked the paperwork, right? She's fine. So as I'm rubbing my genre against her ass, Ricky's all in the thing. All of a sudden he starts shaking. Right? And he's like, I can read everybody's mind. And I'm like, shut the fuck up, right? Come on, bro. You've seen too many movies. You watched The Boogeyman too many times. My dad's like, why don't you guys shut the fuck up? What are you guys? Don't bring the devil into my house. Don't bring that. Unless he has a big old dick. Don't bring him into my house. Just shut the fuck up and keep eating. She's talking to her old man, right? At the time, whichever one she was with. And so I'm like, come on, Ricky, stop playing. He's like, I could tell you about you. Right? And I was like, nah, you can't tell me shit. Right? So she does like, okay, tell me what I want right now. He goes, you're hungry. I'm like, come on, everyone knows that. Come on, bro. Don't take you. Come on, that shit didn't help you know that. So her homegirl's like, okay, so why am I here? He's like, to give him one. She was like, oh shit, wow. And I was like, oh wow. And Ricky's like, whopping. I'm like, no, I'm first. That's what whopping, right? So anyways, I'm like, okay, we know she's here for fucking activities. This one's hungry. My tia's over there bitching. It hurts. Get your finger out of there. My nip, I only have two of them, right? So she's over there screaming. And so he's like, I can tell you about you. So I'm like, okay, whopping. Tell me about me. I'm laying down laughing. He's like, you had a cellie when you were in Tracy from San Jose, and he was haunted by two guys he killed. And I said, what the fuck? And I said, you're lying, but he was telling the truth, right? I said, how do you know that? He said, because they're telling me. They're talking to me right now, and I don't like salsa. I feel like they're surrounding me. I feel like they're surrounding me. I'm like, stop it. He's like, I never talked to Southsiders before. They're different, right? I'm like, what are they telling you? He explained. See, when I was celled up with the homeboy from Sanjo, I read all his paperwork, right? And I didn't read it because I was like checking him because I already knew he was solid. It wasn't like that, like, let me check your paperwork. It wasn't like, it just, I was reading it just to have something to read. You know, I'm in Tracy, there ain't shit to do. And man, it was crazy. The whole setup and, you know, how this murder happened and how it almost didn't happen, right? But it did. And so I seen the guy's names. I seen some pictures that he had. I seen all that. You know, you see that in the paper in prison, you get your paperwork. And when, especially it's a murder case, there's like a lot of it. So I'm tripping out on it, right? This fool was explaining pictures. He was explaining who these guys were, what waters they were from. My cousin never met these guys. I was tripping. I was looking at that board like, oh shit, whop in, right? Luckily, there was that chick there and her cheek kept brushing the tip of my chorra. So that was like keeping my mind sane. Because for a minute there, I was tripping like, oh, I got to get up out of here, right? You can feel the dark presence in the shit. The people that don't believe it, that's on you. He knew exactly what it was, right? So look, trip out on this. This is even trippier. So a couple months later, whatever, right? I ended up owning the chick and she was different story for a different day. That's a bedtime story. So I ended up leaving. So it's a couple months later. My dad keeps saying, hey, you want to come? We're going to make menudo, mijo. You want to come and eat? Come on, fuckface, get over here. Bring some limes. We're out of limes, right? I'm like, hey, you're on your own. Tell Ricky to fucking ride a scooter to the fucking store. I'm cool, right? I'm not going over there. I felt like a dark presence at my tia's house. Like they brought some bad energy with that fucking board. I didn't believe it, but it was real. So look, trip out on this. Now, mind you, when I was with the homeboy, right, and Tracy, it had already been like, I don't know, a few years because he ended up going to High Desert. I ended up jamming in my prison, doing some years. So I hadn't talked to him, seen him, whatever. I just remember when they told him to roll it up, he was going to High Desert, right? And that was it. What about I get a letter? I get a letter in the mail. How he got my address, how he remembered my name, how all that, I don't know, but it's the homeboy from Sanjo. He's like, hey, bro, I don't know what it is, but remember I used to tell you those stories back in the days and all that? He said, yeah, it was like, he said a few months ago, it was like a dark presence just left me, bro. I've been cool ever since, man. And I think that praying and shit you told me to do, I think it worked. No, it wasn't. It was my fucking stupid ass people whooping. I'm going to bring the devil. The devil wears red. He's active. He's a Norteno. He brought some bullshit into the pad. Ever since then, my tia's pad, I mean, the roaches make noise at night, so you can't really call it. But it'd be like some dark energy there between Pepe. The devil made me do it. Yeah, he actually might have. Motherfucker's right here wearing a red paño. Ricky come, whooping, I can't find my fucking calzones. I think the devil took them. He probably did. He probably did. You brought him in here. You know, I've been involved in a lot of different things in this lifetime. Paranormal shit, paranormal activity. I've seen some things. People don't want to believe it or believe it. I don't give a fuck. It's up to you, right? But Ricky is a lummy. Okay, what I say by lummy is he's soft-minded. You know, not like in a bad way. Just he believes whatever you tell him, and he doesn't believe in the bullshit, right? And there was a while there where he got sick. When I interview him, I'm gonna have him tell you about it. He got real sick, and no one could figure out what it was. And I think when he was playing with that little board, wherever the fuck remate they got it from, whatever yard sale that Sheila fucking picked it up from because she seen that they were giving away free snacks, that shit was real. You know, I didn't see nothing move or none of that, but how the fuck would Ricky know these things? I never told him the story. I just got out. Like, he knew the homie's name. He knew the barrios. Like, he knew the paperwork that I seen with my own eyes. He knew it. And so I pulled him to the side. It was like maybe a couple years ago, right? Like, I was visiting, and I was like, hey, remember that shit? And I was like, that was bullshit. I'm like, how'd you read my mind? You whooping, I could do it right now. I said, yeah, all right, read my mind. What happened? You had chili cheese fries at Winter Schnitzel right there, Modesto on McHenry. I was like, damn, how did you know that shit? There was a bag of the leftover chili cheese fries in the car, and he happened to notice, right? Motherfucker lost his ability to tell time. So I don't know if he was being real or not, but I do know at the same time that what he said was true. Now, the homie, unfortunately, got whacked, right, in prison. Like, after I talked to him, it was a couple years later, I went into San Jose because I have family out there, and a couple of the homeboys, I was mentioning them, like, hey, you know the homeboy whoop-de-whoop? They were like, yeah, you heard what happened to him? Like, what happened? They said, he's like a paranoid schizophrenic or something. I said, what do you mean? Davalta said that all these fucking demons were chasing him, and his old fucking victims were chasing him. And anyways, man, he was J-catting out, and they put him on some pills, man. He was abusing the pills, and he ended up getting whacked, man. Now he's on an SNY yard, and I was like, damn, that's how that went down. And never was able to get a hold of the homeboy anymore, man. I suppose I could have wrote him. I had a CDC number in his name because when he wrote me, but I just never tripped off of it. It got lost somewhere. The old lady cheeked it. I don't know. Maybe Lefty Gunplay came, cheeked it, took it to Texas. I don't know what happened, but I know that, for those of you that don't believe in the paranormal, the shit's real, man. The shit's real, and I'll never forget, when he used to shake at night, he was really shaking, shaky. That was like, right? And I was like, oh, you all right, bro? Is your tongue, you bit it. It's all norte. I was like, okay, cool. And then my primo, when he goes, hey, you whooping, that's normal. That's normal. Don't freak out. That's just, he was a heroin baby. So he's just trying to fucking, hey, he's like one of those dudes you have to calibrate him every day. If I thought come out like that, and I have to lift his arm like, there you go. Whooping, I'm back. You got to drink his V8. Anyways, with that being said, man, true stories. You guys already know what it is. Super Norteño. It's on and cracking, man, today with the content. I appreciate you guys. My tia was like, what are you guys doing bringing a fucking ghost into my house? Make sure you're going to bring that motherfucker Patrick Swayze. He looked like he could just lick an asshole. I'm like, what? Yeah. Hey, that motherfucker, because when he turned and was doing the clay pot with Demi Moore, I imagine that was just me doing the clay pot on his shoulder. Like, tia, what are you talking about? I'm just keeping it real. I can't help it that you fuckers are liars and you sit here and bullshit. You guys want to hear the real? I'm going to tell you the real. You were talking about ghosts the other day. I woke up and I felt like, oh, man, there's a ghost eating us. So I just let him. And then when I pulled my chonies down there, the gang of roaches down there, because I had left a crumb from the night before, and I pulled my chonies up and continue. My idea is different. Thumbs up or thumbs down. Heavy's going to be the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to strive, struggle, and strive for what I honestly and truly believe in, and that's the betterment of all people. Whooping! Ricky coming soon. Bang, bang. Gunner gang.